Ahoy, this is Zdenka. The battle of 3-in-1 or 4-in-1 gimbals is here. Hohem iSteady MT2 versus Feiyu Scorp Mini 2 versus Zhiyun Crane M3S. These gimbals can be used with mirrorless cameras, pocket cameras, smartphones, and action cameras. There will be many tests performed in this video, including AI tracking and stabilization. I will also show what is included in the apps with Apple and Android phones. This is Hohem iSteady MT2, which is the lightest gimbal, weighs 653 grams and has currently the lowest price. Maximum payload is 1200 grams. You can fully charge it in 3 hours. And under ideal condition, this gimbal will give you up to 17 hours of runtime if you don't use AI tracking sensor. If an AI tracking sensor is used and fill light at its highest brightness, then the maximum runtime is between 6 to 8 hours. This is Feiyu Scorp Mini 2, which weighs 852 grams. This one is the heaviest of all 3 gimbals. When it comes to price, it is in the middle between those two. Please check current pricing depending on when you are watching this video. All 3 gimbals are linked below. Maximum payload is the same as the first one, also 1200 grams. Charging time is 2 hours, and this gimbal will give you about 10 hours of runtime. Lastly, this is Zhiyun Crane M3S, which weighs 705 grams. Maximum payload is not specified. What I was told is this: if you can balance it, you can use it. I used it with a Sony a7S III and lightweight Tamron lens. I could balance it. Charging time is 2 hours, and this one will give you 7.5 hours of runtime. All 3 gimbals have slightly different build. These two have standard straight build. Scorp Mini 2 looks completely different. As I was able to work with all 3, I am going to give the highest points to Scorp Mini 2. It just feels the best in hands. You can move it around easily. It feels the most natural in your hands. Zhiyun is the only gimbal where you cannot mount your camera in vertical mode. If you need to film in vertical mode, you do it this way. This one also doesn't have an AI tracking sensor. These two have tracking sensors. I will be testing those later on in this video. Feiyu Scorp Mini 2 has a built-in AI sensor. Hohem iSteady MT2 has a removable sensor with light, so there is a chance of losing it, as many of you pointed out. I personally did not have an incident where I would drop the sensor or it got detached. Hohem also has the ability to program moving time lapses directly on the gimbal without the need of using their app. All 3 gimbals come with fill lights. Zhiyun has built-in lights. The other 2 are magnetic, which you have to attach. Hohem has also an available remote for this gimbal. What some of you might find quite important is that Hohem doesn't sell focus zoom motors for this gimbal. I didn't find it on their website. Zhiyun and feiyutech offer these motors. Let's start with mirrorless cameras. Zhiyun Crane M3S has minimal accessories when it comes to mounting the camera on, quick release plate, and this smartphone clamp. The range of movement is the biggest out of these 3 gimbals, mainly when it comes to roll motor range. This gimbal offers the ability to change all settings directly on the gimbal. It's very simple to navigate through. The app you will be using with this gimbal is ZY Play. It's a very basic app. You can use your smartphone as a remote. You can change settings there. There is no app for smartphones, so you would be using this gimbal to stabilize the footage and you would be filming, let's say, in native camera app or any other app of your choice. This gimbal is more suitable for those who mainly film with mirrorless cameras. Hohem iSteady MT2 is next. This gimbal allows you to mount the camera in horizontal or vertical mode. The display has quite a basic menu. You can see modes, battery, Bluetooth status. It takes a bit longer to learn how to use this gimbal because you have to memorize what all those buttons do. There are many hidden functions, so you really do need to read the manual and you have to memorize everything. You won't see all of it on the display. For example, you have to memorize that if you press M button 3 times, you will get to inception mode. So there is a bit of a learning curve. All gimbals feel sturdy. The app you would be using with this gimbal is Hohem Joy. You can use your smartphone as a remote. You can program your time lapses. They go up to 3 hours, and you can select 5 waypoints. And this app is also where you can customize motion control, adjust motor speed and sensitivity, change all gimbal parameter settings, calibrate your gimbal, and restore AI vision sensor. When it comes to time lapses, you can also film time lapse without the app. You can only select 2 waypoints though with these buttons here. Feiyu Scorp Mini 2. This one has many mounting accessories included. Mounting the camera and balancing the gimbal is okay. Now that I had to balance all 3 gimbals, I can see a difference. The easiest to balance is Zhiyun. Second one is Hohem. And this one, Feiyu Scorp, takes a little bit longer. The plate moves easily, so you have to be patient when you tighten the clamp. Also, those locks which turn, you have to be careful and double check if it's tightened before you turn on the gimbal. The advantage of the gimbal is that, just like with Zhiyun, it has a big display. You can change directly everything on a gimbal. The menu is very simple to navigate through. Everything is very clear and just simple. They use these icons, so it makes very visual. You can change modes, follow speed, program time lapses, auto rotation, you can shoot panorama, film in quick camera portrait mode, selfie mode, and track video. There are 2 apps available for this gimbal. For camera controls, you would use Feiyu Scorp. And the same thing here, it's very visual with these icons. You know right away what you are accessing. You can change the camera settings, gimbal settings, you can customize inception mode, shoot panorama, time lapses, and track video. How is the stabilization? I'm going to test all of them with my smaller camera, which is Canon M6 Mark II. First goes Zhiyun Crane M3S. Here is a regular hard walk. Let's do soft, deep in knees walk to eliminate up and down body movement. And let's do run. Next up is Hohem iSteady MT2. Let's see if there is any difference. Here is hard walk, soft walk, and finally run. Let's test the last gimbal, which is the Feiyu Scorp Mini 2. Hard walk is first. Soft walk. And run. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about the stabilization. Did you see any differences? I would like to hear from you. Let's test AI tracking sensor. Zhiyun doesn't have it, so that gimbal is out right now. So now I'm about 2 meters. Now I am at about, 3 meters. Still tracking me. Now I am at about, quite far. And the camera is still tracking me. The sensor is tracking me. So there you go, still tracking. We'll see. Still tracking. Now this is very far now. Oh, it seems like it finally lost me. I'm going to test with my big camera Sony a7S III and Tamron lens, which is a bit bigger. I want to see if the sensors work with bigger lenses, as this is my normal setup I use when I'm filming myself. The difference between those two gimbals is that Feiyu Scorp Mini 2 only allows you to track in the center. You cannot reframe the shot. Hohem iSteady MT2 can do that. You just show the gesture, move to a new position, show the gesture again, and you are now in the new frame. What happens when there are multiple people? Is it going to lose tracking? I will need my family to help out with this one. Let's move on to smartphones. As I said before, Zhiyun Crane M3S doesn't have a dedicated app for smartphones, so you have to film in native camera app or other app of your choice. Hohem iSteady MT2 and Feiyu Scorp Mini 2 are next. Both have smartphone clamps included. The Feiyu Scorp Mini 2 though has a better clamp, and with a smartphone it is actually easier to balance the gimbal. However, I find that Hohem gimbal is quite simple to balance smartphone as well. It only takes an extra step over the feiyutech, but it's still very good. Okay, Hohem iSteady MT2. What you get in the Hohem Joy app on iPhone is filming in 4K in 24, 25, 30, and 60 frames per second. You can film in manual mode, you can do panorama, time lapses, slow motion in 1080p in 120 and 24 frames per second, and moment, where you can do stuff like dolly zoom and inception mode. What Android doesn't get. There are usually limitations with some Androids. I have Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra here. You get everything as an iPhone except one thing, and that is lenses. You can film with an ultra wide, 1x main camera, and 10x zoom lens. Feiyu Scorp Mini 2 is next. The app to be used is called Feiyu On. You can film here in 4K, 30 or 60 frames per second, and 120 frames per second slow motion in 720p. You can film in manual mode. It has more advanced features such as peak assist. You can do time lapses. I think though that with iPhones these days you would film mainly with Blackmagic camera app. If you don't know what this app is, I will link a video below. Free app, pretty amazing. Android is next. You can film in 4K 30 frames per second only. There is no 60 frames per second, but you can do slow motion in 120 and 240 frames per second. You can film in manual mode, but you can only use standard lens or digitally zoom in. You cannot film with ultra wide angle lens. The same thing here though, I would use native camera app as it has Pro Video mode, and I would just use the gimbal to stabilize the footage, and I would only use their app for time lapses or panoramas. There you go, this is how I see it. Feiyu Scorp Mini 2 is the easiest gimbal to use. Hohem has advantage with AI sensor as you can reframe the shot, but you cannot use big lenses as they block the sensor. Zhiyun Crane M3S is excellent for someone who doesn't care about AI tracking and only films in native camera app or another app of their choice. Zhiyun still has the best build in my opinion. It has the strongest motors. Now it is all up to you to make your pick depending on what camera you use, what features you need and don't care about. So let me know in the comment section below which one would be the best for you. Give it a thumbs up if you found this video informative and subscribe for more. There are some other videos you can check out right here. See you in the next one. Ciao, ahoy.